Welcome to our intermediate class today. It's the first of our 12-week series, and our theme for the entire series is vitality. And the theme came to me from how much I was sitting around over the holidays and just feeling like a lump and realizing that I'd kind of let my practice slide and I wasn't eating as well as I normally do and all of those sorts of things. And it kind of took my energy away a little bit. So I started focusing a little on little things that I could do just to kind of come back to that place where I feel good in my body. So, making a commitment to walk a little bit more and drink a bit more water and get to bed a bit earlier. But little things, right? Nothing huge. Like we don't have to completely change our lifestyles to increase our vitality. One little step at a time can do wonders. So one of the things that I know helps a ton with feeling better in my body is to actually move my body. Right? So for vitality, we can either add things in, like I said, like getting better sleep, eating better, drinking more water, or we can remove things that are causing us undue stress. Now, we can't get rid of all stressors because life is full of them, but we can minimize the impact on ourselves of those stressors by minimizing the things that we carry around on purpose with us, right? So we can't stop the stress, but we can modify how we respond to that stress. And we can also eliminate some of the stressors that we have some control over, right? So adding things in to feel more vital and taking things away that sort of sap our energy. But today our main focus is on just moving the body. Right, so when we move the body, we increase circulation, the prana, which is the vital energy, the name for it in yoga, increases and spreads into the body. And then we naturally feel generally a little more revitalized at the end of that kind of practice. That said, if you've been holding a lot of stress and you've been really feeling tired or drained in any way, then sometimes, the practice can just drop you right into a feeling of, oh my gosh, I really need to sleep, right? So we may not feel revitalized. It may remind us or give us the message that we're not taking care of ourselves and show us where our needs may be. So I invite you to really listen to your body today, to do what feels good for you. You can stop and rest at any time if it feels like too much. You can add on, more strong postures if what I'm offering doesn't feel strong enough for you and you're experienced and you know how to make the practice what you want it to be, then absolutely feel free to do that. But the main thing, listening to your body and honoring what you discover. So we'll have lots of little check-ins today as we go through the practice to see where you're at. So we're going to start seated, so you can go ahead and get comfortable if you're not there already, and I will see you on the mat. And I actually have my mat to myself right now. Often I turn around and my dog is sprawled on the mat. So I'll see you there. So in your comfortable seated position, you can have your legs crossed if you like. You can spread them out in front of you. Whatever works. You can even be on a chair if that's more comfortable than being on the floor. So I invite you to find a balanced place as much as possible. So we have these two bones at the bottom of the pelvis, generally called sit bones in casual talk. Sit or sits bones. And they're on either side of the pelvis. You can perhaps feel those 2 points of pressure. And depending on if you're sitting on something softer, you may not quite feel that, but feeling the bottom of your pelvis supporting the length of your spine. Let the chin come very slightly down towards the chest of the back of the neck is long and the crown of the head is lifting towards the ceiling. You can have your eyes open or closed. It depends what feels best for you. And then I invite you to simply tune into whatever sensations are present for you, whether they're comfortable or uncomfortable. So the feeling of your body where it meets the ground, where your hands touch your body. The feeling of the movement of breath within. Notice any tension that you may be aware of or you're holding in your body. Try not to dwell there or give it all of your attention. But notice, oh, there's some tension there. And see then if you can follow up with finding an area of your body that feels light, that feels open, that feels free. Just taking a little snapshot of where you're at right now, physically, mentally, emotionally, what's going on. And as we go through the class today, I'll invite you at different intervals to check back in and notice. And perhaps you'll notice that things shift, or maybe you won't. So whatever comes into your awareness, there's no right or wrong as we go through the practice. So let's start with a little bit of movement here. You might be familiar with the cat-cow movement, which is an arching and rounding of the spine. We can do that seated here with an inhale, lifting the heart, shoulders move down. You want to keep your head in line with the spine so it's not falling back. And then as you round your back, bring the head down, shoulders can relax forward. So if you're coordinating breath, inhale as you lengthen and arch the back. Exhale as you round, draw the head down. Extension and flexion of the spine. The spine is the central support for our bodies. We abuse our spines quite a lot by the way we sit often and slump. And so when we bring health and movement and alignment to the spine, we automatically increase vitality. Energy moves along the spine, the spinal cord, the spinal column. Right, and then coming back to a neutral spine, we'll do a few circles. Just letting the torso circle over the legs. Again, noticing and tuning into what you're aware of in terms of sensation. How does it change as you move? What are you aware of? What comes into your awareness? Circling the other way as well. So today's class is really going to be about moving the body in the ways that it naturally moves. Nothing really too intense in today's practice, just getting everything moving again. So some of you may have not practiced for a while, or you, like me, maybe found your practice a little less steady during the holidays. So we'll just ease back into things. We'll just bring the palms together. Put a little pressure into your hands so you feel your arms and your chest muscles engage. And then lift the arms up, breathing in. Big circle, spread wide, so you're reaching as far as you can to the sides with your fingertips, and then hands come back together. Again, a little pressure there. And again, we'll lift with a breath in. Exhale and reach out. And then this time, bringing the hands together, we'll pause here. And we'll do some circles with the wrists. So if you bring your palms down, and then backs of the hands together, roll the fingers toward the ground, towards you, and then up. And then we'll roll over, so palms are down, then backs of the hands. And really, if something different happens with your circles, it's totally fine. Okay, just getting the wrists moving with that little bit of extra support and pressure with the hands moving together. You can also reverse the direction. I find that when I'm circling my joints, it feels different sometimes when I come at it from the opposite direction. So notice what's true for you here. Right, and then give them a little shake. Right, and then squeeze your hands into fists. Bring your hands out to the sides, and then we're going to press the palms open, fingertips reaching toward the ceiling, and then fists, and drop the fists down as you bring them in towards your shoulders, and then press out as if you're pressing two walls away from you, and then like you're pulling in with your fists. So reach out and pull in. Great, and then just give them a shake. So a little bit of movement for the neck, and then we'll change positions. So taking the head to one side, move until you feel that first level of restriction in your neck, not so that you're pushing against it at all, but you feel that, oh yeah, that's as far as my head naturally wants to go. And then drop the chin slightly down toward the collarbone for a breath or two. And then sweep over to the other side. And again, finding that position as you turn your head to the side where you feel the first level of restriction. So you don't want to force past that. And then let the chin sink slightly down toward that collarbone. And then we'll sweep the chin back to the other side. And let's go side to side a few times. Again, take your time. See if you can really tune into and notice the sensations in each part of your neck as you move. We never want to force any part of our body beyond where it wants to go naturally. We can invite and then be patient and wait and see what happens, but never forcing. If you want to make a full circle with your neck, feel free to do that. Just being cautious and protective of your neck so you're not letting it drop back behind your shoulders. After a few circles one way, go ahead and switch directions. Right, and then coming back to the center, let's do just a couple more rounds of that cat-cow movement. So inhaling, arching, exhaling, rounding. Great, and then coming back to neutral. So we'll swing the legs around to come onto all fours. So take your time to get there. Align your hands up underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. And we'll move into a posture movement called Chakravakasana, sort of like the cat-cow, but it adds child's pose in there. So we start with soft elbows, draw the shoulders back, chest forward, and a slight lift of the head and the tail. So you're coming to the arch position. And then as you round your back, press into your palms and let the hips come back toward the heels, head toward the ground. And then inhaling soft elbows. So there's a tendency to really lock the elbows in this movement. See if you can keep your elbows soft. And as you come forward, think about drawing the chest between your arms, the crown of the head reaching away from your tail. So you're not trying to look at the ceiling here, which can strain the neck. So if you think of your head as an extension of your spine, imagine the neck just going along with that natural curve. Okay, now as you're doing this movement, if you're starting to feel like I want a bit more here, then you can start to bring in downward dog, maybe alternating. So next time you're on all fours, you could tuck your toes under, keep your knees soft and bent. Let the head come between the arms in downward dog, and then back to all fours, arching, and then child's pose. So do a few rounds, either staying with just child's pose if that feels best for you, or now alternating with downward dog. Try to really let your head go as you come into downward dog. And then maybe after you've moved dynamically in and out of these poses for a few rounds, you might choose to stay in downward dog. Again, start with really soft knees, really bent. Press into the palms. Try to
You feel your fingertips on the ground, maybe the bases of your fingers if that's comfortable for you as well. Long, long spine, head releasing, and then maybe walk on the spot. If you find that you want to come out of downward dog earlier, please do. You can always come into child's pose and rest there. Right, and then when you're ready, if you're still in downward dog, coming down to all fours, moving into child's pose and staying there for a few breaths. You can have your hands stretched out in front of you or under your head or wherever it's comfortable for you. So staying in child's pose as long as you're comfortable there. If not, then you can always change positions. Let the breath move into the back of your body. Feel maybe some expansion into the back as you breathe. Great. So we're going to move from here into warrior pose. Now, if you have blocks and you find it helpful to bring them on either side of the front of your mat, when we come into warrior, we'll be adding a forward bend. So you might find that helpful. If you don't have blocks, you can always just do your best without. So it's not a requirement. Blocks are also really helpful for extending the length of your arms to step forward from downward dog. So you will do the best you can to get there. I'm getting a little bath from my dog here. Where you go on your bed, sweetie? There you go. Good girl. So you can bring your hands onto your blocks or onto the ground, tuck your toes under, lift up to downward dog. And from there, taking one leg, doesn't matter which, you're going to swing it up behind you and then step it through. Now you might need to lower your back knee and help that leg or whatever it takes to get there. And then you'll take your back foot, you'll turn it to the side so your whole foot can be comfortably on the ground. And then from here, we're going to press into the feet, lift up into warrior one. And then come forward into the forward bend. You can keep the leg bent as you come forward or allow it to straighten any amount that feels comfortable. So you're coming up with a breath in, moving forward, maybe moving that front leg a little straighter as you come forward. If you can't quite reach the ground, you can always just come forward, hands to the leg, or like I said, if you've got blocks, using your blocks. All right, let's come up into warrior one and stay for a few breaths. So palms could face each other, shoulders drawing down. Press deeply into the back heel. Feel a stretch maybe into your calf. And really feel that length from the back heel right up to the fingertips. Softening as you breathe. And then as you're ready, you can bring the hands down. Now they can come, again, it could be a chair in front of you, blocks on the ground, could even be your hands on your thigh. You want to be a little bit cautious if you've got your hands on your thigh that you're not going to hyperextend your knee. So we're going to move the front leg straighter. And here you don't want to press into hyperextension and then bend. So straighten and bend. Could be hands on the ground or wherever you can reach. So really what we're looking for is a stretch in the back of the front leg and the hamstrings. So whatever position you're able to be in here is great. Great. And then from here, you're going to bring your hands to the ground if they're not there already. You're going to take the back foot, turn it forward, take the front foot and come back to downward dog. Soften your knees, lengthen through the torso. Lower your knees to the ground. And then come into child's pose. Take a couple of breaths in child's pose. Reconnect with your breath. And then we'll do the other side. So when you're ready, using your blocks if you have them and need them and want to use them, coming back up into downward dog. I've got an assistant here today. And then from downward dog, you're gonna lift the other leg. You're gonna swing it forward between your hands. And take the back foot, turn it out to the side. So whole foot on the ground, you're gonna lift all the way up into warrior one. So we'll move dynamically from here, back, forward. You can move the front leg straighter if that's available to you. Bend the knee into warrior one. So knee over the ankle as you come upright. And moving straighter as you come forward. So again, it could be just hands coming to the thigh as long as you're cautious not to lock the knee and hyperextend it. Great, next time you come upright, go ahead and stay in warrior one. So press into that back heel really firm from the hip all the way down into the heel as if you could dig that heel right into the ground. Palms face each other, front knee is over the ankle, and then find a lift in the heart. Breathe here. That grounded strength, warrior pose, warrior goddess pose. Right, and then you can come forward again. Hands could be on the knee, blocks a chair, wherever you can reach, and moving that front leg a little more straight, a little more bent. Great, and then if your hands aren't already on blocks to the ground, you can bring them there. We're going to turn the back foot forward, step back with the front foot, bend the knees and lengthen the torso in downward dog, let your head release. And then lowering the knees. Make your way to child's pose and take a few breaths there to tune in, check in, feel your breath in the back of your body, soften, and maybe be aware of how your body feels now after just a little bit of movement. Great, and then again, when you're ready, you can come back up to all fours. Use your blocks or not, whatever works for you. We're going to come back into downward dog. And then from downward dog, take little steps towards your hands. If you get stuck part way, which is quite common, I've got blocks, so it's a little easier. You can always walk your hands back to your feet. Let your head release, soften your knees, and you can very gently uncurl, coming upright, letting your head come up last, let your arms be relaxed. And find your way into mountain pose. So feet coming underneath the hips, shoulders dropping down away from the ears. So mountain pose is this beautiful, simple pose where the bottom part of our body, so from the navel down, is rooting down into the earth like our legs were roots. And the trunk upwards is like the trunk or the stalk of a plant growing up from the earth. And the crown of the head is like this beautiful blossom that could open to receive all of the light, all of the nourishment. So we're drawing nourishment from the ground, from that grounded feeling. Right? You can imagine it as energy coming up from your roots. But in really simple terms, being supported by the ground, being supported, allows us to relax. Right? Whether that's emotional support, physical support, when we feel supported, we can let go, we can relax. So feel the support of the earth beneath you. Feel how your body sways a little bit in mountain pose. That natural movement of the body. And then see if you can feel this natural lift from the navel to the crown of the head and a sense of expansion to receive the light and the energy from the sun. Okay, let's turn the palms out, take a breath in, reach the arms up, find a little lift in the heart. And as you come forward, bend your knees, let your palms face up on the lower back, chest coming toward the thighs. And then we'll inhale and lift. And then this time we're going to bend the knees, exhale and come into a half squat. And inhale, lift. Exhale, big circle, coming into a forward bend. Inhale, lifting. And when you come to the half squat, if you want to make it more challenging, keep your arms lifted instead of bringing them to your thighs. So you'll lift up. We'll alternate again. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, half squat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, lift. This time we're going to stay in the half squat. So exhale, sitting. The more the arms are lifted, the more challenging the pose is. So if you want it easier, hands on your thighs, medium out front, most challenging overhead, lifting the heart. And lifting up with a breath in. Exhale, forward bend, and we'll stay here for a few breaths. Inhale, lift all the way up. And exhale to release. So we're going to come toward the front of the mat now. You can either use blocks or not. We're moving into sun salutation, so you may already know if blocks would be helpful for you. If you even have them, right? So making do with what we've got at home. So again, feel your heels go down, rooted and supported by the ground. Heart lifting, crown lifting. We'll take a breath in. We're going to exhale, come to a half squat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forward bend. Bring your hands to your shins. Inhale and come up about halfway. And then exhale to release. We'll step back with, let's go with the right foot, coming into lunge. So in lunge here, you want to keep your fingertips on the ground or on blocks as you have, and then think about the back hip moving a little forward, forward hip moving back, lengthening through the crown of the head, sinking the hips just a little. From here, we can move into downward dog. From downward dog, knees come down. So we're coming to all fours. We're going to just make this one really simple. Exhale, child's pose. Let's come all the way up to high kneeling. So lifting up, reaching up and slightly back. And then exhale, child's pose. Inhale, all fours. And then into downward dog. Exhaling. If it's helpful, you can raise the right leg to help swing it through, or you can just take it and draw it forward. So however you want to get there. Right foot between your hands, on your fingertips here, or, well, it depends how long your arms are. You might be able to have your hands flat, or maybe on blocks. Think about right hip a little moving back, left hip a little forward. Sink the hips a little, lengthen the spine. Reach up through the crown of the head, and then we'll step forward. Inhale, hands to shins, lengthen. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, half squat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. So I want to say, if my breath pattern isn't working for you, just breathe. Don't strain to breathe with me. So you can Do your sun salutations at whatever pace works for your breath. Take extra breaths if you need them at any point, or just breathe normally and do the movement at its own pace. So we'll try that again. Maybe vary it up a little bit more this time. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, half squat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, half forward bend, hands to shins. Exhale, releasing. Left leg will step back this time. And again, dropping the hips a little and squaring them so you're feeling like you're engaged through the hips and strong. And if you feel strong and steady here, you could lift up into an extended lunge. Shoulders down. A breath or two here. And then we'll take it into downward dog. Downward dog, lowering the knees. Breathing in into a gentle arch. And then exhale, child's pose. We'll come back to all fours. Exhaling into downward dog. And again, if you want to swing your left leg back to help swing it through, you're welcome to do that, or whatever modification you need for the trickiest part of the sun salutation, which is getting the leg forward between the hands. So again, the back leg, you're sucking it in towards the hip. Forward leg, you're sucking it back in towards the hip joint. Drop the hips slightly, and then maybe lift up. And breathe. Okay, then bringing the hands down, we'll step forward. Inhale, hands to shins, lengthening. Exhale to release. Inhale, lift. Keeping the arms up or lowering them down, shifting to a half squat. And then lift up and release. Pause again for a moment. Mountain pose. Check in with your breath. Feel your support under you, the ground. Maybe a little lift through the heart, lifting through the crown of the head. And notice what's present right now, what you're aware of in your body, your mind, your heart. When you're ready, take the feet a little wider now, about shoulder width or even a little bit more. Soften your knees. And just bend and straighten a few times. Making sure you're not locking the knees, right? So when we're standing, there's such a tendency for, if I show you from the side, to sort of lock the knees and collapse the body. So if you soften the knees, bring the pelvis level, and think about a nice long lift in the spine, that's the kind of strong position we want to start from here. We're going to move into some side bending dynamically, so sort of waving the body side to side. So you can take one arm up and then reach it over to the side. And then as you come up, switch arms and reach to the other side. So you're inhaling as you come up if you're coordinating your breath. Exhale as you reach over. Inhale up. Exhale, reach. And continuing at your own pace. A couple more rounds. And maybe the last time, if you want to stay for a couple of breaths, don't think about going down to the side. Think about reaching up and over. And then this arm can literally just hang there. Switching at any point. Right, and then bringing that arm down when you're ready. We'll lift both arms with a breath in. Soft knees again, reaching forward toward the ground. And then inhale, lift. And let's do that forward bend maybe 2 more times. Exhale forward. Inhale, lift. And once more. This time as you come upright, you can lower the arms to your sides. And for the next one, I invite you to take the feet a little bit wider if that's comfortable for you. You can just walk them out from where you are. And then you're going to turn one foot. So I think I'm mirrored to you, so it should look like I just turned my right foot if it were mirrored. So, and then the knee coming over the ankle. So now the hips stay more or less pointing in the same direction as where we started. They might turn a little bit, and that's fine. The back foot can be straight. It can be slightly turned in, slightly turned out. You're really trying to discover what feels right for your ankle. You want to make sure your ankle is strong, so it's not kind of breaking out to the side, but you're pressing into your whole foot and feeling that there's a nice straight line all the way up the ankle and lower leg. From here, arms to the sides. This is Warrior Two. So it's a fairly simple pose, but it can be challenging, and we hold it for a bit. You can turn your head to look out over the hand that corresponds to the knee that's bent. Shoulders down, heart lift, chin down, looking out over your hand. If you want this to be more challenging, take your straight leg, wiggle it a little further away, and sink down so your knee stays over your ankle. If you want it to be easier, wiggle closer. So the more this leg is straight, the more easy the pose is. So from here, you're going to take the hand or the forearm down onto the thigh. Try and keep shoulder over shoulder, reaching the arm up. And we'll do a few circles with that upper arm. So you can bring it down by your hip. Turn your shoulders toward the ground. Sweep your fingertips over the ground. Reach over your head to come back up. So let's try that again. Circle down and back up. If you want to coordinate breath, exhale on the downward part of the circle. Inhale on the upward part. Good. Let's make this the last circle. As you're coming up, let your body come up with the arm. Come back to Warrior Two. Good. Check down that you're able to see your big toe on the inside of your knee. So your knee's not kind of rolling in. And then straighten the leg. Turn parallel. Lower your arms. And let's step the feet together for a moment and give a little shake before we go into the other side. All right, and then when you're ready, you can step the feet apart again. Remember, the wider they are, the more challenging the pose is, so you get to dial it up or down according to your needs today. So now I think it'll look like your left foot if you're mirroring me, out to the side. The other foot at an angle that's comfortable, right? So just slightly in, straight, slightly out, whatever works. You want to make sure you're pressing into both sides of your foot and keeping your ankle in line with your lower leg. Bending the front knee, so knee is over the ankle. You want to see your big toe on the inside of your knee, so you're not rolling that knee in. And then you can adjust a little further apart if you want to work harder, a little closer if you want it easier. And then arms to the side, shoulders down, heart lifting, palms down. You can turn your head to your left, chin down, looking out over your hand. Breathe and feel the support of the ground. Feel that lifting through the crown. And then as you're ready, taking the hand or the forearm down onto the thigh, other arm coming up, you can turn the palm forward here and reach. And then we'll move into those circles. So arm comes down by the hip, you'll turn toward the ground, sweep the fingers over the ground, lift overhead, and come around. We'll do a few circles like that to go at your own pace. Again, if you want to coordinate breath, inhale in the half circle as you go up, exhale in the half circle as you go down. Now let your next rotation bring you back to warrior two. Find your stability and strength there. And then you can move the front leg straighter, turn your feet parallel, palms up, soft knees, big breath in, reach up, and then exhale, sweeping in a big circle down toward the ground. And we'll repeat a couple more times, lifting with the breath in, exhaling forward. You're welcome to do a few more dynamically if you like. You're also welcome to stay in that forward bend now. Options, elbows on thighs, hands on the ground, maybe reaching for your ankles, letting the head go, soft knees always. When you're ready to come up, bring your hands down in front of you and come right up to your fingertips. Find a long spine, bend your knees a little bit, and then feeling all of that strength in your back and your hips and your legs. See if you can take your arms to the sides here, hold for a breath, and then with a long spine, lift up, reach up, and exhale to release. Step the feet together. Coming back to Tadasana or mountain pose. Let your heels sink down, feel the support. Your legs like roots reaching into the earth. Your body like a trunk of a tree or a stalk of a plant growing up from the earth. And that feeling of maybe blossoming and opening towards the sun with the crown at the head. In this pose of strength and support, notice what's present. Notice sensations in your body. Notice your breath. No need to change a thing, just notice. So I think from here, we'll take it down to the ground. So take your time. We're going to come down to line our backs. So as you get to the ground, you can just take a moment, maybe have your knees bent, let your hands rest on your belly. Let the body settle and tune into your breath. So after the effort of the standing poses, letting your body be supported fully by the ground now. So there's no effort in this moment. Simply tuning into your breath, feeling the support beneath you and letting your body soften into that support. And then once you feel settled and supported, you can let the arms come out to your sides, and we'll move into a gentle twist. Jatara Parivriti is the Sanskrit name for the spinal twist. So with the feet about hip distance apart, you'll let the knees release to one side. You might turn the head the other way as you exhale. And then bring everything back to center with your inhale, exhale, and release in the other direction. So again, coordinating the breath is optional. Of course, breathing is not optional. So either exhaling as you go to either side and inhaling to the center, or just breathing normally and letting the movement flow in a way that feels natural to you. Okay, we'll come back to that to revisit a twist in a moment, but for now, coming back to the center, you can lift the hips just a little bit to bring them down in a position that feels aligned, and then let your knees come up toward your chest. Bring your hands to your knees, and we'll draw the knees forward and back. So exhaling as the knees come in. Inhaling, you straighten your arms and move the knees away in Apanasana. You do that a few times at your own comfortable pace. Now let's take the left foot to the floor and bring the right knee in. You can hold your hands behind the thigh if that's comfortable for you. And we'll straighten and bend the leg a couple of times here. Just tuning in. Now we've got the back supported by the ground. So the stretch is really focused in the back of the leg in a different way than when we're standing. So really honor your limitations, not forcing your body in any way. And if you like, you can keep the leg lifted while you circle the ankle a few times. If it feels like a strain to hold on, just let go of the leg. And then press the heel up toward the ceiling. You'll probably feel some stretch out the back of the leg. If you want a little bit more, take your hands either to the thigh or the calf or one in each position. Gently draw the leg a little closer to your body. If you feel a pull right up at your hip, back off. If you're feeling the stretch and it feels good in the center between the joints, and you're comfortable here, you can stay for a few breaths. But if you still want a little more and your neck is super happy, you can use your abdominal muscles to press down into the ground with your lower back, lifting the head toward the knee. And then release. Well, let's bring the knee back into the chest, release to the floor. And we'll do the other side. So bringing the knee in, you can hold behind. And again, gently straightening and bending that leg to tune in, check in, and see where the hamstrings are at. I mentioned on the other side, you want to feel the stretch between the joints of your knee and hip. You don't want to feel a pull at the hip where the muscles attach the sit bone. So you want to feel it in this middle, the belly of the muscle, not your belly. And if it feels like a pull at the hip, I invite you to keep the knee a little more bent and stretch less. You can hold the leg up, either holding on or not, as you circle your ankle around. So circle one way and then the other. And again, that might be enough stretch for you. If you still want a little bit more, you can gently encourage the leg towards you while you flex the foot. And then only if it feels right for you, so it's absolutely optional, is to engage the core and maybe lift the head toward the knee. Releasing, bending the knee, bringing the foot down. Take a breath here. And we'll bring both knees into the chest. And this time stretching both legs toward the ceiling. The arms can reach behind you or to the sides if that's more comfortable. And then we'll come back to the chest. Knees bend, hands to the knees. So if you're coordinating breath here, inhale as you reach out with the arms and legs. Exhale as you squeeze in. Okay, and then holding the knees in. We'll take it actually doesn't really matter which leg, take one leg to the floor. You can extend that leg along the ground, keeping the toes pointing up, and the other hands can come around your knee or behind the knee. So leg on the ground is active, toes up, heel down. Leg that's in toward the chest, you're gently drawing it in using your hands. And then we'll start to move a little side to side with that bent knee. So you can remove one hand and let the knee move out into the other hand. And then switch, pass your knee in to your hand and bring it across your body a little bit. So we're going out to one side and then across to the other. You can add a bit of twist if you like, rolling up onto the hip as you come across. Okay, and then at some point you can stay in that twist if you like, bringing the knee across the body, maybe stretching the leg out, maybe keeping it bent, maybe resting your foot on the opposite leg. Or if you've got a cushion or a block, you could rest your knee on that. Don't worry about this opposite shoulder. If it lifts up off the ground, that's fine. If you want to bring it into your hip or bend the elbow, that'll give the shoulder a little more ease. If it feels good, you can stretch the arm out for a little more stretch. And then eventually rolling back onto your back and bending both knees. You want to lift the hips and bring them back down so you feel even again. And then let's bring both knees into the chest. Give a gentle squeeze in. And then release the other leg to the floor, keeping the opposite knee in now. Keep the leg on the ground active, engaged. And then we can start to pass the knee from side to side. And add that little bit of a twist if it feels good for you. Otherwise, just moving the leg and skipping the twist. And again, only if it feels good to you, you can move into that deeper twist by taking the leg across the body, rolling up onto your hip, maybe supporting the knee, maybe stretching the leg out to the side, checking in with this shoulder. So if there's strain in the shoulder, lowering the arm, even bending it, placing the hand on the waist gives that shoulder a lot more ease. If you want more stretch, arms straight and extending out. And it's quite a bit of stretch, for me at least, across the chest here. So you get to experiment and find the position that really works for you here. Eventually rolling back onto your back. You'll bring your feet to the ground. Again, you'll probably find that you'll need to shift the hips back to center. Adjust as you need to, and then knees to chest. And you're either going to repeat the forward and back movement we did earlier, or the extended movement that reaches out and back in. So either of those two movements or a combination, whatever would feel good. So what we're really looking for here is to bring the spine back to alignment after the twist, to make sure the hips and spine, the neck and everything is feeling aligned again before we move into our last pose, which is Shavasana. So if there's other movements that your body is interested in doing, if there's anything that would feel good here, like maybe holding the knees and rocking side to side to massage the back a little bit more, play for a moment with whatever would feel good to you. And then from there, taking your time, coming to a comfortable lying position. Knees can be bent or straight, arms can be on the ground or on the body. If you prefer to sit to do more of a meditation at the end, you're welcome to sit. So I'll give you a minute or two to get comfortable. If you want a pillow or a blanket to help support greater ease, then please get what you need to be as comfortable as possible. So as you prepare for Shavasana, just doing what you need to be able to relax and feel fully supported. And we'll spend about 5 minutes or so just integrating the practice and resting. And towards the end of our time, our space, I will share with you a chant that's from the Vedas that is all about nourishing ourselves, nourishing our lives, our breath, our senses, our minds. And this is really, for me, what the practice of yoga is all about, is this nourishment, this deep, deep physical, mental, and spiritual, emotional nourishment. And this chant asks that may all of these parts of ourselves be nourished. So taking your time, get comfortable, find as much ease as possible, and then allow your body to really commit to and settle into the position that you've chosen. Tuning into your breath, feel that as you exhale, you could soften a little bit more and drop into the earth. And if you're lying down, that would be where all the points of your body make contact with the earth, dropping into that support. And if you're sitting, it's about finding that support from the pelvis and finding as much ease as possible, the least amount of effort to sit as you can possibly find. And each exhalation allows you to become aware of where you might be holding tension and letting that go. Let your jaw release and soften. And even let the surfaces of your teeth slightly move away from each other so you're not clenching or tempted to clench your jaw. Let the area around your eyes soften, your forehead smooth. And the weight of your head sinking down into the earth if you're lying down, or centered over your shoulders if you're sitting. So the neck can relax, the neck could let go. Let your shoulders drop and your arms release. Feel your hands soften right to the fingertips. As you exhale, feel your rib cage let go. Let go of the holding around the chest and the heart, the upper back and the shoulders. Let your belly soften. And feel the weight of your pelvis on the ground. Feel yourself let go of holding around the hips, the lower abdomen, the buttocks, the pelvic floor. And dropping down through the thighs, Soften your knees, your calves, ankles, and right down to the tips of your toes. With each exhalation, softening a little more if possible. This time of Shavasana helps to integrate the practice, breathing in the nourishment and the goodness from our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual practice of being present, nourishing ourselves, and listening to the chant Ayur Mantra. Om Ayur Dehi Om Pranandehi Om Apanandehi Om Vyanandehi Om Chakshurdehi Om Shrutrandehi Om Manudehi Om Vachandehi Om Atmanandehi Om Pratishthandehi Om Mandehi Om Maitehi. Now I invite you to tune back into your breath and breathe in a way that feels nourishing. Drawing the breath in like it's feeding your cells. Feeling that dispersion of energy through your body as you start to bring a little movement. Perhaps your fingers and toes could start and then gradually moving and stretching, wiggling in any way that would feel good. The beauty of practicing online is if you want to extend your Shavasana and stay a little longer, you're welcome to do that. And if you're ready to move on with your day, eventually, if you're lying down, you'll roll onto your side and take your time to eventually make your way back upright into a seated position. And then bringing your palms together, take a moment in your mind, in your own words, in your own mind, to offer gratitude for whatever you feel grateful for in the practice today. And then I also to invite you to think of one tiny thing, the smallest thing you can think of that helps you to feel more vital in your life, more energized. It could be drinking more water or eating a vegetable or some small thing that you could commit to for today, maybe even for the week. And if that feels right to you, if it feels good to you to commit to one small thing to increase your vitality, make that commitment to yourself. Carry that through your day or week or whatever amount of time feels right for you. Namaste.